to be glorified, and Krishna always wants his devotees to be glorified. He takes a back seat. If he wanted, he could have convinced it, but he's not doing. Actually, to understand Krishna is not easy at all. That's why in a later verse, some of the things we should pay little attention and understand how Bhagavatam is so important. It is not some mental. Okay, can anybody tell me how many Puranas are there? 18 Puranas. Anybody knows the Puranas is a conversation between whom? Nobody will know probably. It is actually the conversation between Suta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya. But Bhagavatam is special because Suta Goswami, when he begins to narrate this Bhagavatam, the questions which are asked, the 6 questions asked by the sages, he remembers Sukadev Goswami having heard Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami and goes on to talk about Bhagavatam. The reason I am asking is, people do not understand the real position of Krishna, who Krishna is, and what is the will of Krishna, how there are so many misconceptions. I'll give you a few examples. Before I give you that, there is a verse which will come in the same first canto, 9th chapter. The verse number is 20th verse. Yam manyese matuleyam priyam mitram suhrutam akaroho sachivam dutam suhrudat ata sarathim. Yam manyese matuleyam priyam mitram suhrutam akaroho sachivam dutam suhrudat atha sarathim. O king, that personality whom out of ignorance only you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc., is that very personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. This time when I was coming from India, there are 2 incidents which happened, which while coming from India, by flight, I just very distinctly remember. There was a bookstore in Delhi airport, and all the airports will have some bookstore. So there is one person who was buying a book. He was in the checkout counter, and I was just curiously looking at those books, various books that they have. And the book that he was buying is Krishna the Man and His Power, or something like that. Krishna the Man and, exactly the book is Krishna the Man and His Philosophy. It's a book, very famous book, written by one of our famous Indian philosophers, so-called Guru. Krishna the Man and His Philosophies. I saw the book, or he saw me rather, I was wearing devotee dress, so he asked me, so what do you think about this book? So I said, if you really want to take my advice, don't touch this book. So yeah, of course, he still bought the book and took it. The book was Krishna the Man and His Philosophies. Right? If you ask average man in the city or in the street, somebody who Krishna is, what is his position? We all think he's just like a cowherd boy, and he somehow had some mystical power and then killed some demons, helped this Pandavas, something like that. We get an impression. My parents, they used to subscribe to one religious organization's magazine, and I was just flipping through when I was at home. There I saw there was one article written where it is mentioned Krishna and Balaram were simple ordinary boys. Because of the upbringing, because of the culture of the society, they became superhumans, such things. So this verse, it is telling, Yam manyesya matulayam priyam mitram sukirtimam akaroho sachivam dutam suhrudat atha sarathim. So there are so many things. Yan manyese, to whom you are thinking matulayam. Matulam is, we can have our cousins from our maternal side, from our paternal side, from father side, from mother side. So matulayam, to whom you are considering your maternal cousin. How he is maternal cousin? Who is the mother of Pandavas? Kunti. Kunti's brother is Vasudev. Vasudev's son is Vasudev. So that's how Matulayam. Yan Matulayam Priyam. Priyam is very dear. Mitram, whom you are considering as friend. Suhrutam, he is also, there is a difference between Mitram and Suhrutam. Actually, these are not simply words to fill. Friend and an ardent well-wisher. We will see, if time permits, I'll tell you what is the difference. Akaroha Sachivam Dutam. Sachivam, what is the meaning of the word Sachivam? How many of you in India, you have seen the Sachivalaya? Secretariat. Very good. Sachivam is what? So Sachivam, Sachivalayam. Sachivam is somebody who gives counsel. Like the mantri, they give also counsel. Sachivam. Dutam. Dutam is messenger. Messenger. Prabhupada came in the ship. The name of the ship was Jaladutam. It's a messenger. Jaladutam. Dutam. Suhrudat, by goodwill. Atha Sarathim. What is Sarathim? Leadership? No. Sarathi is charioteer. But how does the word come? Ratha is a chariot. Rathi is the fighter who is, seated on the chariot. Sarathi, who's accompanying that Rathi. Sarathi. See, these are all. So we may see that Krishna did all these things. What is the benefit for Krishna? Matulayam, he was a Duta, he was a Sachivam, he was Sarathim. Sarathim, the position of Sarathi. These are things, if you observe very carefully, it's very, very, actually what position, what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead becoming a charioteer? Imagine the battlefield, in the battlefield, fierce fighting, massacre is happening. There are horses shouting, the elephants are screaming, people are, somebody's hand is getting cut, somebody is dying, and all those, in the midst of all those chaos, it's not some peaceful thing. The battle is going on, okay, now Arjuna will tell, okay, Krishna, take a left turn. It doesn't happen like this. Take a right turn. Now somebody is coming towards me, I want to take a right turn. How does it happen? It happens when the charioteer, Rathi, he will be wearing, if you see the Rathi, the kings, this thing, if you go to a museum, the armors that they wear, very heavy. And the shoes that they have, it's not some paduka. It's not some, made up of wooden this thing. It will have nails, very heavy this thing. And with that, he will hit on the right side of Krishna if he has to take right turn. Because you can't hear the sound. With that, he'll hit on the left side if he has to take a left turn. Or if the chariot has to be stopped, he'll hit with, in the center with that nailed shoes. Very painful. Krishna is agreeing to do this. Why? What is it that, is there in the Pandavas that Krishna is willing to do this? He's becoming a Duta. He went 17 times carrying this message. Duta. He's becoming, he's Sarathim. But he's also a relative. But what this verse of Bhagavatam is telling that, out of ignorance, don't consider him to be your material cousin, your dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc. Because that personality of Godhead is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So sometimes we don't pay attention. We think, Krishna, Krishna, the man and his philosophy, like I was telling that person buying that book. We don't know who Krishna is. We think from our mundane analysis, mundane intelligence, and try to understand. There is one conversation where there is one person he's asking Prabhupada, Krishna actually stole the clothes of girls who have not even reached adulthood. So I'm writing a book in the defense of Krishna. Prabhupada says there's no need for doing all those things. You read the commentaries of you read the commentaries of the Acharyas, you will get it. There is a song in India called Bande Mataram. Who has written that? Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. That Bankim Chandra Chatterjee says there are 3 Krishnas. One Krishna which gave the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita in Kurukshetra. There is another Krishna who was the king of Mathura. And there is a third Krishna who's like a roadside Romeo who roamed around with girls and had a good time. Three Krishnas. So people have no understanding who Krishna is. But one thing everybody agrees, no matter what they, have perception, the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita is very powerful. This, whoever he may be, my God, how did he speak this philosophy? So to understand Krishna, so why I am saying, there is a reason I am bringing that to you. Krishna willed. As it is willed by Lord Shri Krishna, Bhismadev will impart. That is what is the point. In Hindi, there is a word called kasauti. Any Hindi person here? Okay. What does that mean? Test or exam. So imagine that kartal which is kept there. If I tell you that this kartal is made up of pure gold, how will you verify this? Testing. What kind of testing you'll do? Huh? Sow it around to whom? Vinegar, and what will happen? Okay, I don't know what you do. Imagine if I write it pure gold and I give it to you. Will you accept it as pure gold? Yes. No way. I mean, people cheat. Actually, kasauti, the word he said, that's what is it? What did you say? Test or exam. The goldsmith, what they do, they have a stone called kasa stone. So if you rub that, there is a line which comes. Based on that line, seeing that line, they can say whether it is gold or not. So kasauti, I am saying this is pure gold. The instruction of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, irrespective of what they think, it is not because it is pure gold written anywhere. The message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is very powerful. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, na karmana, for me there is no need to do any work. There is no benefit. There is nowhere it is mentioned that Krishna did this so that somebody will come and give him some kind of remuneration. Oh, you are a Sarathi, take this money. There is no need. Same holds true for even pure devotees. Pure devotees, when they go through so much by their kaya, manasa, vacha, by their body, by their words, by their mind, they are actually constantly worshipping the Supreme Lord. One example, maybe 2-3 examples of Srila Prabhupada. Right, there is this famous incident. Who came back? Panduranga is not here. Just now we came back from India, and the temperature in India, especially in Delhi, it was about, you came by Delhi? 52 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit, is 120, 130, something like that. Huge. I mean, it's very hot. So in one of those days when Delhi was extremely, hot, Prabhupada, when, what we have seen the videos of Prabhupada, you see that in jet or some flight, Prabhupada is coming down, devotees are dancing, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, saying, what nice life. But same Prabhupada, who took sannyas in the age of 55, was writing this magazine called Back to Godhead. Those days when Delhi was extremely hot, maybe like this 50s, he was standing in one place. And there was another Gaudiya Math devotee who know that this is Abhay Babu, and he asked him, what are you doing here? He said, no, I am just standing here to sell this magazine, and there is a doctor who goes through this path to his clinic, and he has promised me that he'll give me 5.5 rupees. 5 rupees, 50 anna or whatever, 5.5 rupees. For that I am waiting. So it was 10 o'clock in the morning. Even 10 o'clock in the morning in Delhi is very hot. And this person went for his work. Okay, Abhay Babu, but why are you standing here? Because he's saying if I stand in the shed, if I go inside, I may not be able to see him. Those days there is no smartphone or this thing that we can communicate. Prabhupada is waiting for that man to go so that he can catch him. 1:30 p.m. that person returns from the other side, and he sees that Prabhupada is still standing in that hot sun, waiting for that man to come so that he gets 5.5 anna. So much painstakingly Prabhupada has. What is the purpose? One Back to Godhead magazine he wants to sell. Kayana Manasa Vacha. There is another thing which I had heard about Prabhupada when I had visited the temple in Mexico. It's also there in the Vedaves in the conversation. So Mexico climate is very similar to India. but is almost similar. And in Mexico City, which is the capital of Mexico, Prabhupada stayed in one of the rooms. And then the room was not really good. There were a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of problems. In the morning, some of the disciples of Prabhupada came, and some of the local Mexican devotee also came. They asked Prabhupada, how was the room? He said, yeah, it was all right. Didn't say anything. He was fine. So, but Prabhupada, there were so many mosquitoes here. One of the devotees told, or maybe the secretary or something. Prabhupada said, I didn't feel anything. So then the devotee responded, oh, so Prabhupada, you are the pure devotee. Mosquitoes won't bite you. What Prabhupada would have responded, What said, maybe it didn't bite me here, but the mosquitoes of Calcutta don't discriminate the pure devotee and normal person. He never took this, like, I'm a pure devotee, I'm beyond the laws of nature or something like that, and try to show that or something. Very, very, so much of pain. We see some one side of Prabhupada where, he's coming, he's going and all those things. But even in Mayapur, when the temple was getting built, simple hut he was staying. Not bothered about the physical conditions or, what kind of hardship he is going through. But he was fully fixed up. This is what is the pure devotee. They have got no business with any of this material affairs. They're fully fixed in this platform of pure devotion. So this is pure gold. Pure gold. Actually, you just see one example, just to prove this, so to build on this. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita which comes, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsah Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Bhijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Bhramsa Smriti Bhramsat Buddhinaso Buddhinasat Pranashyati. Dhyayato Vish. How this is pure gold? You want to know the definition of karma. You want to know the definition of austerity. You want to know the definition of mind. You want to know the definition of, the cycle of birth and death. You want to know the definition of soul. Crystal clear. This verse, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa, you meditate on something, immediately you develop a desire. So I was telling about two incidences while flying from India. One was this Krishna and the man and his philosophy, the book. Second thing, I came via Qatar Airways, so there was a layover in Doha. Can you believe, in the airport of Doha, there was a SUV which was displayed. Who is going to buy a SUV in the airport? Is there anybody who's there who will buy a SUV? But it is displayed. Why? Because, it creates a desire inside us. That was rotating. There were some features which are the doors were open and you can see that vehicle. So the more you meditate on that, immediately you'll develop a desire to have that. 40% discount. The moment you have 40% discount, or okay, in India, there's a cricket is always craze. I saw there was one ad which says earn 55 crores in 5 seconds. Some of you may laugh actually, but I asked some people how many people would have done this. What you have to do, you have to predict the 11 players who are going to play for T20 World Cup of India. If you do it right, you will get 55 crores. So imagine somebody does that, and it is simple. So you have to give just 11 names. 11 names are not so difficult to predict. You give that, you may get, assuming that they're true, you may get it. But what people don't know, even if say 0.5% of 55 crore have sent that SMS, each of this SMS costs 15 rupees. And that's how somebody, one person may give money, but it's nothing, but they would have earned a lot. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Upajayate. There is a desire which is produced by repeated meditating on something. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Upajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. If you say, okay, if I fulfill that desire, everything will be all right, that desire will be gone. No. Oh, you will develop a greed. Again, more. I want more. And if you don't, that desire is not fulfilled, immediately there is anger. Why I couldn't do this? Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammoha is a very beautiful word. Sammoha. Moha is Bewilderment, samyak rupena moha, complete bewilderment. Sammohat smriti bhramsat. When we buy a computer, what is it that we see? One of the things that we see, memory. Memory is the most important thing. The sign of intelligence is if you're able to recollect, if you're able to remember, you can store and you can retrieve, then you're great. That's why the RAM, the memory is so important. Smriti bhramsat. Smriti will be gone. You will have krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti bhramsat. Smriti bhramsat buddhi naso. Intelligence will be lost. Once intelligence is lost, once again one falls down in this material pool. Buddhi nasat pranashyati. This is gold, crystal clear gold. Actually, the way it has been given, unfortunately, we don't know and we don't see, we don't pay attention. We don't have that desire to go deeper and understand and appreciate. But Acharyas like Prabhupada has given this painstakingly. And when we read and understand, oof, it strikes you. Bhishmadev will also offer his last prayer to the Lord on the verge of passing away from this mortal world and thus become liberated from the bondage of further material engagements. Another thing which we have to see from the passing away of Bhishmadev. So these are all things which are going to come. First thing we saw that this is willed by Krishna. And I spoke a little bit, touched about it, but that willed by Krishna will be explained. Bhagavatam, the beauty of Bhagavatam is there is always, like a movie, there are always two cameras. One who are related to Krishna also are there, like the devotees, and it is talking about Yudhishthir Maharaj coming in the regal royal dress, enthroned, we will see, with all his chariots. He's appearing there, and Bhishmadev lying on the deathbed. Also, on another lens or another camera never loses to focus on Krishna. It's always there. That is why Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. So, Bhishmadev will also offer last prayer to the Lord. Who's that Lord? That is Krishna, on the verge of passing away from this mortal world. What should we pray when we know? How should we pray? What should we do? How do we do this? That's what Krishna and that's what Bhishmadev will talk about. And thus become liberated from the bondage of further material engagements. Bhishmadev was endowed with the power of leaving his material body at will, and his lying down on the bed of arrows was his own choice. This passing away of the great warrior attracted the attention of all the contemporary elites, and all of them assembled there to show their feelings of love, respect and affection for the great soul. Pay attention to this line. When we had the fortune of having the devotees here, Madhva Prabhu and Ghosh Thakur Prabhu, there was one class which Prabhu took a few days back on 1.8.52. I had to write a WhatsApp message, put it in the group, say that there is a special class at 8 o'clock. Still people didn't show up. Not many people could come. There was no such WhatsApp communications or login at this time. Yudhishthir Maharaj will be present. Nice prasadam will be arranged. How did these people come? The passing away of the great warrior attracted the attention of all the contemporary elites. How did they get to know? There is an inspiration from within which comes, which Krishna inspires. Oh, this is very important. I should not miss this. That inspiration comes to all of us also. But because of our minds, constant chattering, it says, no, today I have got this thing, I did some service, I'll not go. I'm not talking about you, but it can be me. We all get that kind of the justifications for not coming. But that inspiration, the passing away of the great warrior attracted the attention of all the contemporary elites. And all of them assembled there. You'll see who all have come. Vyasa, Dhauma, all big sages are coming to see how this pure devotee is quitting his body. One of the things which Prabhupada mentions later on in the purport, we will see that when this all these great devotees, they are coming, there are two things that we have to learn. One is they are interested in seeing how Bhishmadev is quitting his body. The other thing is, when we are getting a chance to hear Bhagavatam, when we are getting a chance to come in an assembly of devotees to hear Harikatha, which is so powerful, as we saw in that verse of Bhagavatam, it says, Etad hi atura chittana matra sparsa chaya muhu bhava sindho plavo drashto haricharyanu varnanam. Etad hi atura chittanam. This chitta, this our mind consciousness is so disturbed, atura, so much filled with anxieties. Etadhi atura chittanam matra sparshe chaya muhu. Because the sense objects are constantly looking for sense gratification. That is how this anxiety is coming. Etadhi atura chittanam matra sparshe chaya muhu bhava sindho plabo drishto. And because of this anxieties, because of this miseries that we are going on, we are stuck in the middle of this bhava sindhu, in the ocean of this material birth and death. Bhava sindho plabo drishto haricharyanu varnanam. But there is a strong boat. The strong boat is haricharyanu varnanam, when we discuss harikatha in the midst of devotees. So the second thing, of course, they are coming to see that, how Krishna is, how Bhishma Dev is quitting his body. But the second thing which Prabhupada says is, it is very important that, there should be a good audience to hear. Imagine if, Bhishma Dev has to give this instruction to Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is standing there with just his head down, and the 5 Pandavas, and nobody else. No, even the speaker, when he sees that the audience, the devotees are eager to hear, and they actually, this is mentioned even in that sthane sthita srutigatam, that verse which Ramananda Rai, when he says to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, says, this is it, this is how ajita jita, the unconquerable also becomes conquered. Prabhupada writes in the purport, a devotee should be very eager to hear Bhagavatam and should hear in a pleasing manner. Eager to hear is very important, very easy to understand. But what is pleasing manner? So pleasing manner is something which is there, it's a choice which is there with us. Imagine some guest comes to our temple, or somebody comes to your house. You have a choice. Either you can tell them, just go away, get out of this place, or you can have them in a pleasing manner. So the pleasing, when we hear it with pleasing manner, and when we hear it with great attention, with eagerness, magic happens. That's how all this, great sages, the passing away of the great warrior attracted the attention of all the contemporary elites, and all of them assembled there to show their feelings of love, respect, and affection for the great soul. So we will see how further Bhagavatam proceeds, and how Krishna, the mastermind behind this, wanted to glorify Bhishma Dev. That is why, even as Chaitya Guru, in the heart of Yudhishthir Maharaj, he didn't allow Yudhishthir to hear this and get convinced, and he brought him in front of Bhishma Dev, so that Bhishma Dev can impart this final instructions, which is heard not just by the Pandavas, by all great sages who have assembled there to hear that, because it is so important. This gold, pure gold, which is there, which we can see from this pages of Bhagavatam. Stop here and see if you have any questions or comments. Nimisharana says. But he says Bhagavatam is full of realizations of Sukadev Goswami. Yaswanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam anubhavam. He's realized what he heard. Yaswanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam adhyatma deepam atitirshatam tamoandham samsarinam karunayaha purana aham tam vyasa sunam upayami munim gurunam. So it is realized knowledge of Sukadev Goswami, which is, it's not just parrot type, repeating what he heard. It's also filled with realizations of the pure devotee. And out of deep compassion, he has shared this knowledge. It's like a torchlight. Samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyasa sunam upayami. And I'm bowing down to him. I'm asking for his benediction, blessings, before I could speak Bhagavatam. Suhridam and this thing, friend. Actually, it's a very subtle. There is a mitra, there is Suhridam, there is another one, which Bhagavad Gita talks about. The difference between mitra and Suhrud. Mitra is somebody who's worried, or who's conscious about your material well-being. That also is very few. I mean, suppose you are in a trouble or you are in this thing, those people who come and stand for you, they say that a friend in need is a friend indeed. That is mitra. But suhrud is somebody who is worried about your spiritual well-being. And Prabhupada mentions about spiritual well-being is not seen by your material well-being or not. It's a seeing whether the person is making steady advancement in his spiritual life and helping him progress in that. That is the suhrud. And Krishna is called Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam. Voktaram Yagyantapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam Gyantva Mam Santimaj. Suhrud, he is our best well-wisher who really wants. We should not suffer here. We should not get stuck in this material world. Come out of this. This time when I had gone to India, anyway, I'm just taking few more minutes. I went to one of my maternal cousins. Her house I visited. So she's like she's my cousin sister, and she's married. So I went to her house to visit. So her father-in-law, he went through some very difficult times, very difficult times. You know, when he was working, he used to do 3 jobs. He will do a part-time job from 8 to 10 as an accountant. 10 to 5 he would do his whatever one job he was doing in government office, and again after that from 5 to 8 another job to take care of the family. They had 2 daughters and 3 sons. One of them is married to my cousin sister. So he retired at the age of 60 or something, 63, something like that. He retired. After that, because he went through so much of hard work, he would virtually, I mean, now when I went, he would not do anything. He would sleep till 10 o'clock. Okay? And the tea has to be given right at his bed so that, he takes the tea. He would get up with a lot of difficulty, and then he'll take bath. Immediately after that, the breakfast has to be ready. He'll take that, and then he'll go for some walk, stroll here and there, come back, again sleep. And if anybody questions, it's as if, nobody can dare, but if you question also, for last so many years I have worked so hard, I deserve to take this rest. I should sleep more. You should not ask me like this. Look at the position of Krishna. I was just thinking, Sarathim, Dutam, no material gain. He is doing this for his devotees. He gets purchased by that devotion. Unfortunately, people don't understand who Krishna is, what is his position, what is this thing. But if the devotion in the heart, Ajito Jita, the unconquerable becomes conquered by our devotion in the heart. That Supreme Lord agrees to become a charioteer for his devotee, becomes a Duta, messenger, and so on and so forth. So wonderful. We'll stop here and see how Bhagavatam proceeds and how the beautiful instruction of Bhishma Dev comes and how is it so relevant for all of us as we see the pages of Bhagavatam. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.